So, street life versus how do you say it?
Square life.
I wouldn't even call it a square life versus the real world. That's
Yeah.
what I would say. So, we didn't had this conversation a few times. So basically, my life versus your life, the pros and the cons. Uh, Clearly, I chose the street route.
Hmm.
You chose the real world, education and things like that, right?
Hmm.
All right. So I will start off by saying this. I told this to you a few times. You know what I'm saying? If I could do it all over again,
Hmm.
I would have went your route. You know, and from what you know about my life, what comes to your mind?
I would say you definitely would have went the business route.
No, I mean your life versus mine, like to the point of how do you well, let's just go like this, right? Let's just go like this. So, how has the real world looked out for you? And when I say the real world, for those who's what the fuck is the real world? From a street point of view, in my eyes only, just speaking for me, the real world will consist of um, education, going to college, getting a degree, um, working on credit, um, um, what taxes, shit that people do, like 9 to 5 people. That's the real world to me. My what I The route that I took, I consider it the real world, but it's a shortcut. And it's a shortcut that came to bite me in my ass later on down the road. But then again, it still has its it has its perks. Like you you are big on your credit,
Hmm.
and you was telling me about credit.
Hmm.
Now in the real world, why is credit good?
Because that is your, it says a lot about you. Like, people look at credit as it speaks for who you are as a person. It's almost like people say your name is all you got. Your
Hmm.
name slash credit is all you got. When people look at your credit score, it's almost like they can tell, are you responsible, are you irresponsible when it comes to handling money, handling affairs.
What
And
kind of
then
stuff shows up on the credit again?
everything, your rental history, your utilities, whether you had loans, whether you have credit card debt, like everything. When I say everything, it can be a visit to the hospital and you owe them $50 and you never paid it. It's gonna show up on your credit report. You know, if you co-sign on a car for somebody and they say I'm gonna pay my car note, but all of a sudden, they don't pay or something goes on, that falls on your credit report. It's like in debt stuff. It's like every little thing that you have signed your name on when it comes to finances being in the real world, it
Hmm.
pulls it up.
Now, and that's what you was big on. You still are big on
Yeah,
credit.
yeah.
That's one thing I've been picking your brain about. Now, in my world, when you pull up with a stack of cash, credit goes out the window.
That is a fact. And that even in the real world, that is still a fact. You can have the best credit in the world. But if you don't want to go that route and deal with paperwork and them running it, because even when they run your credit, that'll drop your score. So if you want to avoid that, you pull up with a stack of money and say, hey, I got this money. Money talks. And especially if you go to like a car dealership, they gonna get that money off top versus having to wait
Right,
on the credit end of it.
right, right. And that's one thing that I had liked because I didn't have credit. I wouldn't put things in my name, and I didn't deal with credit cards and banks, and I don't go to the hospital
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. So I wasn't worried about credit. It's just I like you just said, money talks. You know what I'm saying? Um, but then again, let's go to jobs.
Mm,
Let's go to jobs. So jobs slash education.
yeah.
Um, you went to college. You got you a degree.
Hmm.
Did you know you was going to college? Like,
I
yeah,
wasn't sure because at first I was gonna go the military route. I did ROTC and all this other stuff, so I was just gonna take because to me that would have been the easy route. Go to the military, it comes with all the perks, benefits. Get the hell away from the place you were born and raised at. Travel the world, no kid. I mean, it was just the ideal situation.
right,
But life happens, and then it was like, okay, so that route didn't work. What I'm gonna do next? And I'm not a street person, so I got to look at it from the real world point of view. You know, college is the only option.
right,
Having a high school diploma is one thing, but the way the world is set up today, high school diploma back in the day, if somebody graduated from high school, that was an honor. Like I know my parents, like when I graduated high school, this was like a big ass, I had a big ass celebration because that was something that it was unheard of back in the day versus now. But now, even when I graduated high school, it don't hold as much weight versus college. But it has its pros and cons because you can have all the education in the world, but the economy that we're living in today, you can actually not get a job because you're overqualified, you're overeducated, you have too much education for what they're trying to do. But when you look at it, it almost balances out. It's kind of fair because it's like we don't want to pay you $8 when you're worth $15 an hour. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Type of situation. So I mean, it has its pros and its cons, but yeah, college became my second choice when I didn't take the first option, which was the military.
And um, on my end, like when it comes to the education, I didn't even I left in 12th grade. I remember just walking out, never going back, like literally just like that. You know what I'm saying? I've been told
Hmm.
you the story a few times, but it does has its perks. The education, especially when you're trying to get into to certain jobs. But then I look at because I never had a job until I was like 23, 22, 23.
Hmm.
I never had a job until then. And I didn't even keep that job for too long. So, and we'll get to that part in a minute. Don't let me start rambling. But it's a different it's a different feel when you got the education underneath, and then when you're putting in those applications rather than when I just put GED or a high school diploma on it. You know what I'm saying? Um, but then, like I said, when I was a manager at one of these jobs, I looked at it like, damn, some of these people got like college degrees,
Hmm.
and I'm their boss though. A motherfucker who ain't even finished high school, and you're like 30 something years old, 40 something years old, and I'm like a mid 20 something years old, and that got to be like a coming from a person from that field. Is that a slap in the face?
It is a slap in the face to have someone who is underqualified to be over you. You know what I'm saying? You underpaid and you overqualified. It's like a
But here's my thing. I think, but even the job that they're at, they wasn't. Is I don't think that job is what they went to school for.
mhm. And a lot of times you go to school for stuff and at the time it's a good idea, it's what you're interested in, but then when you look at society, is where is the demand for that though? Like you have to look at area, you have to look at, it's a lot of things that you have to factor in when you're talking about these jobs. Are you going to be willing to travel? Are you going to be willing to relocate so that you can actually get a good job in the field that you actually went to school for? And if you don't have that motivation, like a lot of people get to that thing where I graduated college. That's an accomplishment. That's enough for me. However, you still got to have a drive once you get that college degree to get in your field. Like it's competitive, and a lot of these, job occupations, it's very competitive. And if you ain't got the drive to get where you're trying to go with that degree, so it can pay for itself,
Mm-hmm.
you find yourself working for somebody who don't even have a high school diploma, and here you are, in a shitty ass situation, not getting paid what you're actually worth, and you're not even in the field that you actually went to school for. You have to settle for that because you didn't push yourself to pursue your actual career field. Or it can just be one of those things where the economy is bad and your career field is just not booming right now.
Okay, so on the job tip, since we on that, let's go to finances, right?
Hmm.
Let's go to finances, and and then I'll give the reason why I did what I did,
Hmm.
right? Well, I'll just get to that first. Long story short, person from the real world, you know, you have to fill out these job applications, wait to be
Hmm.
hired, and all of that, right? I never felt like I was too big to work, or I was never too proud to have an honest job. Where I was from, there wasn't, motherfuckers who was lawyers were sleeping in their car.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the best way I can put it. Like really, it's expensive. Even the temp agencies, like they're not handing out jobs. You can apply and apply and apply. But while I'm applying to these jobs, Metro still want their money. The landlord still want their money.
Big fat.
You gotta pay for medicine, pay for food. We ain't even got to the car yet. We ain't even got to all the bills yet. The water
Right.
bill, the gas for the house. So I can put in all these applications all day long. I can go to as many um job interviews, but these people are still gonna want their money. I can't pay well. I got a job interview on Monday. Like that don't mean shit to nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So do you remember the job? I don't want to know what it is. I just want to hear numbers, right? Do you
Hmm.
remember the job that you got paid the most at?
Yeah.
And what was your check? What would your check be like?
Before or after they tax it.
Your check, money you get.
The most I got 1,300.
1,300 in one check.
Mm-hmm.
And is that 2 week period? Uh Weekly,
That's monthly.
1,300 a month.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 28
31
to
days
31
sometimes.
days in a month.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta wait a whole month to get $1,300.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds so bad, but in the real world, you have to look at, okay, pre-tax, your check can be looking at $4,000,
Mm-hmm.
literally. But in the real world, you have to look at, okay, well, they took 300 and put it towards my retirement. I got 100 that they put towards my insurance. If something happened to me, something happens to my kids, I can go to the doctor and not pay anything. You have to look at, okay, I paid in my taxes. When I get ready to file my tax, I'm getting that money back at the end of the year. It's so many things you have to look at. So while it's frustrating in that moment to be like, dang, I wish I could get all my money, which you
Right.
can if you set your taxes up that way, you can get all your money, but then you may end up having to pay back at the end of the year. But you just have to find that balance and what works for you. So it's like almost like you have to make that sacrifice and you have to know that I'm bringing this home, I'm gonna make it do what it do. And then the other part of it, although it seemed hella unfair and I would rather have that in my pocket because it can take me a whole lot further,
Right.
I do know that in X amount of years, when all is said and done, I'm gonna get all that money back. Every dime that I put in, I'm getting it back, and then in most jobs, like you get a 2 month period where you don't go to work, but you still getting your same check. You don't have to worry about, where that money's gonna come from. So it has its benefits. It's hella frustrating, in the real world. That's where a lot of the frustration come in at because street life, you can go hustle and get that money and make that 2, 3 times over. Whereas you know, I'm honest with it. I go do my 8 hours a day. I get my 40 hours a week and do all this clocking in and clocking out and all this extra stuff. And you just know that at the end of it, you're gonna get this paycheck, you're gonna get your bills paid, and it just is what it is.
See, I listen to that. I don't have a problem with that. It's because I'm like you. As long as I can have my bills paid
Mm-hmm.
and it is what it is, I can live with that. I can live with that. But my thing was, I wasn't having a job in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I had to do something, and then I sit there and think of like all the shit that you were just saying that does have benefits for the future, retirement, all that shit. Because the street life doesn't have no retirement plan in it, except prison or basically you're gonna have to start all over when you done in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And then you're gonna have to do what grown folks actually do.
Hmm.
Um, but it's like everything you were saying was a whole lot of waiting. That's a whole lot of waiting. First of all, I'm not even guaranteed to even see these 2 months that you was talking about,
Yeah.
or I might even be alive in tax time. I need my money now. And I think about $1,300. Like you're gonna wait every month for that. And I think about like waking up in the morning whenever the fuck I felt like it, and being outside for fucking like an hour, if that, and coming in the house for like $3,000. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And then I just decide if I want to go back out or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm not putting that shit towards no retirement. Um, Nothing smart towards the future. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Nothing for the security that you just named, living that honest motherfucking life. You know what I mean? But then this is where I looked at myself and I ain't gonna say I laughed, but I had to pat myself on the back.
Hmm.
You know why?
Why?
When Corona hit, you know what I mean? You got all these people that was looking down upon people who had them shitty jobs as they will call it. I don't consider no jobs to be shitty jobs. If you got the balls and you got the drive to go work and you
Yeah.
actually working, I commend that. I don't give a fuck what it is because it takes dedication to get up every morning and go to work and have to stay there for 8 hours a day.
Some people work longer hours than that, 12 to
Because
16 hour shifts.
you know me, when it comes to certain jobs, like you know me, I'm quick to tell motherfucker I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm going, I don't, cause I don't like dealing with no shit at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you really don't have to.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But you do have to. That's a mental thing. You do have to at the end of the day. That's what you should do when it comes to this workforce. But this was a time where it showed, I think, a lot of people a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You can have the most education. You can be working at this job for 20 something years and bam, just like that. Education don't mean shit right now.
Nope.
Degrees don't mean a motherfucking thing.
Nope.
Don't none of that shit matter. You know what comes into play? My life. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what we was already doing.
Yeah.
This ain't got nothing to do with like corona. Like corona.
And that is a benefit of, the street life when economic shit like this happen in the real world, it doesn't affect everybody.
Cause that's why I got into the situation of the street shit is because of what you just said. The economic shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I just wanted the motherfucking Rolls Royce on the block. Fuck that. And in reality, I just wanted to pay my bills. If I would have had a job, I wouldn't have did allegedly what the fuck I was doing.
Hmm.
Allegedly. You know what I'm saying? I would
Right.
have never done that shit. You give me a job, you're gonna work, you're gonna get this paycheck, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down today and tomorrow. But when Corona hit and you laying people off and you know what I mean? I'm not gonna go do nothing illegal. But hey, those people who was in that life before, I mean, it's like welcome home. You know, this is like home field advantage right here. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? All that hard work is gonna pay off now. And all those people who were sitting here looking down upon the little people at McDonald's and shit like that, those are the same motherfuckers tripping over a $600 stimulus check.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? That's why I don't give people shit that work at these places that are small. None of that shit. Cause you look at the world right now, who's really the essential motherfucking people?
Hmm.
Who's open for business since day one of this shit?
They are.
Walmart, McDonald's,
Gas
all the
station,
places that
dollar stores.
motherfuckers don't want to work at.
That's true.
These are the people who's keeping this shit cracking.
That is so true. And they are unaffected. It's like they do what they have to do. They're not worried about nothing. Their bills gonna still get paid. Their money flow didn't stop. And then some of them even got the hazard pay. They got a bonus for being that nigga who don't mind flipping a burger or working at the gas station or whatever the situation may be. I know people who was working at big ass, company, CEO, you managing shit. Now you around here driving DoorDash, you dropping people food off to their front
Mm,
door. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to
mm,
take a big piece of humble pie in this type of situation.
mm-hmm.
You really do. It's definitely was a eye opener for a lot of people, a lot of people, and you got to put some respect on these people who are essential. Who maybe and then school is not for everybody. A lot of people that may be working at McDonald's or whatever, that may not have been their ideal thing, but they know education wasn't for them. You got to do something. So work at McDonald's, work your way up, become manager, get them bonus checks, make that extra money. They paying 15 whatever dollars an hour. McDonald's paying more than what some of these big people pay. No, like seriously, you can make more at McDonald's right now than you can be in the education field. Literally.
And let me talk about $1,300 real quick. I
Talk
gotta go
about
back to that.
it.
You are from the South.
Hmm.
$1,300 can go somewhere.
Hmm.
I'm from California.
That ain't going nowhere.
$1,300 is not gonna get you a two-bedroom house in the projects.
Hmm. Wow. Wow.
So sometimes I feel like you're forced to be in that situation, or there's only so long you can wait. That was the moral of my story.
Hmm.
I waited long enough. I went grown up without having shit.
Right.
And you know me today. I'm not with the material shit at all.
Right.
I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. But like I said, there's only so long you're gonna wait for somebody to say you're hired. You can come work with us so you can feed your family. There's only so long you're gonna wait before somebody says we're gonna give you this money so you can sit here and pay your bills. Cause if you sit here and wait, job interview after job interview, like I was saying earlier, them bills are still adding up. The lights is gonna get cut off. The water is gonna get cut off.
That's true.
You need shoes, diapers, whatever. But what are you to do?
And people resort to a lot of stuff. Like you start having to, they say, you selling off all your hard earned property, trying to get money for it so you can keep your lights and stuff turned on, so you can pay your car note and do all this stuff. Then you on the phone trying to explain to these people, like, you do realize that you living in the same world as me. Like, how do you explain to somebody who in the same world as you that know what's going on not to come cut your lights off? Like, that's crazy. That is insane to me. And it's like you start, like, you get desperate and you start doing stuff. And that's where I think a lot of people get to the fork in the road and they like, what am I gonna do? You
I
can't
had
wait.
to.
You
I
can't wait
had
on that
to.
phone call. You can't wait for somebody to say, yeah, come work for me. And then even after you get the job, you may have to wait. You may have to get a pay period in the hole before you even get a check. So you may have to work a whole 4 weeks before you actually get one check. Some places do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's rough. And when your people back is against the wall, they do what they got to do. And I don't think people should be held accountable for doing what they have to do to protect their family, to protect their homes, to make sure their kids got a roof over their head. Like, seriously. Like, it's just certain things you just gotta like.
If you don't provide, they gonna come take your kids.
Exactly. It's so messed up, and then you got all these people out here that work hard and may need some extra assistance, and they can't even get it because you overqualified. According to them, you make too much money. Well, if that be the case, I wouldn't even be asking you to give me food stamps or whatever the situation may be. I wouldn't even ask you that if I could actually do it without having to do that. But then you'll sit up and tell somebody they're not eligible. You can get $23 a month because of what you make. And then you knowing your check don't even cover all your bills. It's crazy.
Especially when you had to wait a whole month.
Right.
That's like as soon as the check comes, check gone.
A month is long, and that's the crazy part about it. You know, when you get your check, you already know in the back of your mind, I gotta pay rent, lights, water, all your main stuff's out the way, and then the rest of it, you just do what you gotta do. You get your hustle on, you go get you another job. I mean, you just literally anything you gotta do to stay afloat. And when you in the real world, I ain't even gonna lie, it sometimes it's like, dang, did I choose the right route? Should I have
And that's
gone?
crazy because I was just about to ask you in closing, who got the better life?
Man,
And I'm gonna have to say you. It sucks, but it beats the fuck out of having to look over your shoulders every goddamn minute of the day. Uh, 'Cause you can go make $3,000. That could be the last $3,000 you make.
that's true.
Your ass be sitting in prison or some crazy shit. And to sit there and have 1,300 guaranteed without having to worry about going to jail for making this $1,300, that's more peaceful than having this $3,000 and you don't know what the fuck this $3,000 even attached to.
Right.
Is it the police? Is it shit? Am I being watched? And and it could just take you that $3,000. $3,000 is not worth years in prison.
Not at all.
When you can sit here and maintain a float of $1,300 and
With
get you
that,
some hustle on.
in the real world, and just that alone, it teaches you so much more mentally. Like it teaches you responsibility, even in your grown ass years, to know that I'm getting this $1,300, which really don't amount to shit. But I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna make the best of it. I'm gonna see, can I stretch it another way this time? Can I lessen this bill and save on this? And can I not go buy brand new shoes when I really just don't need it? It teaches you a whole lot of things. Like it's just a lot of discipline in
I
it.
can't do it.
It is. It's rough, but
that's one thing I hate being a motherfucking adult because I'm not used to living like that.
right.
You
It is a
know,
different living for sure.
I'm used to like paying my rent twice in 1 month.
Hmm.
I got credit at the electricity place.
Hmm.
Um, I just don't worry about shit besides the aftermath. You know what I mean? And that's
Right.
the shit that makes your life worth it.
Hmm.
But it just sucks
It do. It do.
because there's a person who could sit here and tell you that you fired, and that means that they're not going to give you no more money.
Hmm.
And I can't stomach that shit.
Yeah. It's rough. And I guess like and then depending on what field you're in, like I know if I was to get fired right now, every dime that I have paid into that job and insurance and 401k or whatever, I can actually get that money back and live off of it until I get to another place. So that's even a perk, you know. But
But that's still like I just look at it. I look at it different. Like that's a like I said, that's one of the perks that you have,
mhm,
but that's a perk that you're not even guaranteed to see. And that's why like I used to live not like every day was the last, but I would live like fuck that.
yeah.
Fuck that. I might not get to see that check next week.
And sometimes you have to have those moments. Excuse me. You have to have that moment and you lose your self discipline for a little while because it's like, dang, I'm doing all of this trying to stay afloat, but at some point you want to actually be able to enjoy, the benefits of I would bust my ass off to go to college when nobody supported me, which is something I wanted to do, and you did it. You got the education. You walked across the stage. And then you walked across the stage with 2 degrees, 1 degree you didn't even know you was getting, so you got all this good stuff and you want to be able to enjoy that. So you lose your self-discipline for a little while and you enjoy life, but at the same time, maintaining to not let yourself go under. And that's just how I look at it. I got this monthly income. I know it's gonna do X, Y, and Z. And I know, at the end of it, it is what it is.
The first time that I really knew I picked, one of the first times that I really realized that, yeah, you picked the wrong shit to do is when I was actually riding with you and we were in the left hand lane and in the right hand lane, like two cars up, there was like the police. And you like driving past the police. I'm looking at you like, what the fuck is you doing? Like, that's the whole ass police right there.
Yeah.
And then it dawned on me, you don't live like that.
Right.
You don't have shit to worry about like that. And then I'm like, wow, I feel like a white person.
And you know what? It's so funny because when I do that, I get a kick out of it. I really honestly do. I get a kick out of knowing that it ain't nothing. Even if you were to pull me over, it's nothing. You're gonna be wasting your time and whoever else's time. Like there's nothing you can do.
I see the police on the street, you throw the whole block away. Abort mission. I'm pulling into the gas tank could be on full. I'm putting $5 in that bitch still. I'm getting some ice. Right. Oh, snow cones? Yeah, let me get some snow cones and tell this motherfucker to left the block 20 minutes ago. Like, though, you gotta throw the whole mission away when you see the police. It's just over. It's just over. So we're closing. Yeah, I would have to say at the end of the day, um, even with all the bullshit going on, the people who choose the path that you chose, which was the grown folk way, the real world way, the get shit done way, education, job, and taking care of business is way better than looking over your shoulder, you know what I'm saying, all day long, or looking out your window all day long. Or can you imagine doing what I used to do, allegedly, and then every time you left, you gotta, every time I leave from somewhere, I gotta worry about, is this car over here, is these niggas finna just jump out on me, you know what I'm saying? And like the police, or is that car following me? So let me hit this street right here, see if they go turn this street. Oh, they did turn. Let me hit this other one right here. Let me pull over, see if they pass me up. Or you see a police and do they know what the fuck is going on out here? Or just in the middle of the night, is my door finna get kicked in any second now? Like, yeah, like that shit. At the end of the day, like I like money and shit like that, but it's just not worth the extra headache.
No, I would rather have my peace of mind and these $1,300 a month and make that shit do what it do.
I never have a peace of mind in my life, ever. That's always my worry. Um, always, always. I don't give a fuck if I see like a AT&T van outside. I'm thinking, is that who the fuck got AT&T problems over here? Like, is it the police? Like, what's popping? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just not the way to live. So if you can avoid selling them drugs, avoid that shit. If you can avoid doing whatever it is that you do that's illegal, avoid that shit. But I will tell you to handle your business and handle your business by all means motherfucking necessary. Long story short. Um, but hey, if you do the crime, you gonna do the time. And it's just that motherfucking simple. But like I tell even my kids, if I could do it over, I'd do it over. I would have focused more on school. My weaknesses is studying and all of that. I would have made those my strengths. Um, and I would have executed. And instead of bitching about, and that's one of my main problems with myself. Like you bitch about this change and want this prison reform or just justice and shit like that. And all I can do is bitch about it from the sidelines. And that's all I can do. Because I didn't sit here and do what these people of power did. They went to school. They did what they had to do to be in a position to be fucking shit up. And I should have sit here and stayed afloat and put myself in the same position they're in and made a change instead of talking shit from the sideline like I do now. Instead of sitting here fucking being the one to sit here and change that shit. And that's why I really frown upon myself when it comes to that, because I fuck myself and cut myself short on something that I could have maybe changed, but I would never know because I never applied myself to do so. So that's why I say I would go your route because I cut myself short. Period. But when Corona came, I wasn't fucked up like some of these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Uh, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents. So, but thank y'all for listening. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. Street life versus the real world. Have you lived both sides of the fence? Only one side? Has it helped you? Do you wish that you had other trades? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because everybody has those down times, and sometimes that check is just not enough. It's just not enough when you got all these bills and we did all that and we still ain't say shit about taking care of no kids.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like damn. But yeah, drop me a comment for sure. Let me know what you think.